10 seconds remaining.
Alright everybody, welcome back into the Dota 2 Canada Cup Season 6 playoffs. It is Leviathan versus Shazam here in the quarterfinals. Game number 2 getting under the way. The Witch Doctor and Slaughter, Leviathan's first choice here as they are going up against Shazam after going down pretty handedly in game number 1. Just missing out on a couple of key critical fights and kills going their way. And that will put them behind here in the series. Of course, thank you so much for joining us on moonducktv. My name is Mott. With me today is Lurker Derp as well as Purge. And now, Purge, who do you favor going into game number 2? Is it Shazam going to take a 2-0, or is this going to be another 3-game series here in Canada Cup?
I could see Shazam taking a 2-0, but I think Leviathan has it in him. They got a little unlucky with the invisibility rune that Brax was able to utilize very well to scout out the smoke, and that could have changed things a lot. Like, the game was equal at that point, and the momentum shifted back towards into Shazam's favor. Now, I think their late game ability to find openings is better than Leviathan's, as well as their warding seemed better. But there's definitely still the possibility that Leviathan could do better in their trialing that they should have, like last game, and then push it into an advantage, which I think they can take control of and take a win.
Yep, I think they missed out on a couple of crucial opportunities, as you had touched on. We'll see if that's going to be the case this game, or if they can corral a couple of opportunities and get a couple of kills, as well as maybe an early advantage. There's no Chen to deal with. They also feel very strongly about the Oracle, either first picking it or first banning it against Shazam, which is pretty interesting. What they don't feel super strong about is the Lone Druid. That's going to go through and Shazam will grab it. And that can be played in a number of roles, as we've seen through Starlight and, of course, just through the qualifiers in general. This hero is very strong, Purge, very strong.
Yeah. He has a lot of HP. He has a lot of armor. But guess what cuts right through armor, dude? It's Slaughter's ulti.
That's right.
Slaughter ulti plus Witch Doctor. That two-man ganking combo is amazing. They can kill a lot of heroes just by using a blink stun into a amp damage with the death ward. They kill people very rapidly with that. So Lone Druid does have to be careful this game because of it. And Witch Doctor as a whole is just good against Lone Druid because he's always gonna have two things that the cast can bounce between. So I like the opening from Leviathan. I think it's a great way to start. And they followed up with their IO pick. Now, IO is a hero that they were grabbing in the first round when they first started the regional qualifiers. It didn't really work out amazingly for them. But by grabbing it here, I feel like they're going to take their strategies that they perfected before, or practiced before at least, and they're going to integrate it into something new that's going to come a little bit later in the draft. That way Shazam can't counter it as hard.
Yep, I completely agree with you, and hopefully it works out for Leviathan, because I actually do want to see a game number 3 between these two teams. I thought the first game was pretty fun, pretty exciting to watch, and I want to see more of that. I do like the IO grab. In fact, I love the IO grab. You talked about the good ganking combo with the Witch Doctor and the Slaughter. Well, guess what? Now you have a global presence with A, another hero, or B, the Slaughter himself. I like the fact that they'll be able to jump on the Low Druid wherever he's farming if they have vision and get a kill or something.
Yes, that's really valuable against LD because he's just hard to kill, and he can spend his time going between jungles, and if a fight's going on somewhere else, he'll usually split push, and if that's the case, they can always relocate him. Now, it becomes a little harder due to the fact that the roar that scares people away, battle cry. Let me see exactly what it's called. The Savage Roar is very, very good. It's an AoE stun that makes people run away. So he can buy himself time to get away from the IO. But if they relocate in a perfect position that's far enough away but still leaves them room to blink dagger aggressively, then they might be able to get kills on him. So it's easier for Lone Druid to deal with IO than it was in the past, but it's going to be scary for him being in this game because IO does bring a lot of magic damage and a lot of overall damage output.
Yep. The IO is a dangerous hero when paired with the right character with a tether. And we'll see if that's going to be the case. I do like the fact that they have a Bane, so if they do get a relocate in, they can always just sleep or Fiends rip somebody. The Kunkka will come out for Shazam. More than likely in a support role. I've seen this hero get picked up more and more, not only just in the professional games I've seen, but also in pub play as well. I feel like he's pretty strong. I feel like his combo's pretty good. The great thing about Bode is the damage. I mean, you look at level 1, 400 damage, 500 and 600 at level 3. That's actually a lot of damage if you think about it. And getting it on multiple heroes, amazing. So, big fan of the Kunkka, but Leviathan will go for the Tried and True. They'll pick up the Tiny.
Yeah, Kunkka's been abused a lot in the regional qualifiers just because of his ability to scale nicely as a ganking hero, and X marks his spot is just so amazing. If you ever have a lane advantage somewhere and he X's you, you're just kind of dead. Because it's going to lead into a torrent, and then you're already out of position, and you have to wait like 4 seconds before you're further out of position. So it's a really good hero if you can get advantage. It's also very nice against IO and Tiny, because if you X somebody that gets relocated away, you can bring them right back. So against highly mobile heroes, Kunkka can be very useful. I don't know if it'll work amazing against IO plus Tiny. I guess he does get tanky later, but he's still a little vulnerable to getting one shot. But I do like the pick. I think it'll give them some good roam potential that can scale nicely.
So you relocate in, a little bit of time passes, you're about to relocate back out and you get X'd. You relocate back out. I'm 99 to 100% sure that you just get brought back into the X marks the spot, which is pretty interesting. So, I mean, that's
yeah, you do. There's very few things that can interrupt X marks the spot. I think one of them is Storm Spirit's Ball Lightning, I believe. But there's not a lot of things that cancel it. Very few.
Getting put under into like the netherworld, that is an astral imprisonment, I believe. Maybe, I'm not sure actually on the interaction about that, but it should work in the way that X won't bring you all the way back. And it makes sense if you know Kunkka's lore, I guess, which does.
Thank you, Select. I'm happy to report that my audio is going to Dota TV this game. Sorry about that, guys.
All right, we did it.
No, my least favorite bug is when you modify something in game, and then when you go into a new game, that setting doesn't stay. It's like only if you modify it while you're in the Dota TV menu without being in a game.
Yeah.
So I just had a moment of terror and checked, and luckily it's still
like,
going
oh god!
Happy to announce I didn't mess up another drafting stage.
Well, everyone gets to hear your lovely voice, Purge, and now we can carry on with the draft. We did it.
So this Kunkka Slark lane, I think, is a little interesting. I like it a lot because it gives them super good kill power against Slardar. If you anticipate when he's going to Slither and Crush, you can Dark Pact off the stun, and Slark can just pounce him afterwards. So if they get Kunkka within an X marks range of Slardar, Slardar is going to be X torrented into a Slark pounce. The only way that it doesn't work out like that is if Slardar stuns the Kunkka when he's after he had torrented. So it becomes this like really weird game that's hard for Slardar to win. And if he does also use Sprint in addition to that, they're just going to take a lot of damage. They go for the Pudge pick, the Leviathan standard, man.
Lord. That's a mid Pudge, right? Maybe
that's a weird. I mean, they almost always know. No way, it's tiny IO mid.
Yeah.
It'll be maybe Slardar Witch Doctor safe lane with off lane Pudge. I don't know if I like that versus a Kunkka Slark, but it can work.
I don't know, dude.
It's pretty good against Bane. Wherever he's Fiend's Gripping from, you can probably hook him. If somebody's getting X marks the spot, you can also hook that person back to safety. That's actually probably the biggest advantage the Leviathan does get from this Pudge pick. So I do like that. Pudge can cover his allies very well if they do get caught.
Maybe more of a defensive pickup. This is a hero that we often talk about when you think of Leviathan, especially in the offlane. Jenkins has made a name for himself playing the offlane Pudge. It just so happens that the hero is not ever good enough for it to work out and be picked in almost every game. But he's going to be picked up here. He definitely is a situational grab, and it is going to be Jenkins playing him. And then they will grab for Mason a Puck, and it looks like he might be playing in the mid lane yet again. They've swapped roles, the 1 and the 2. And that worked out pretty well first game. Ritsu's going to be playing the Slark. Not a huge fan of Slark. I think he's okay right now, I guess. He's not the best hero, obviously. In this game, he'll probably be pretty good. They have the off-lane Lone Druid for Brax, so interesting stuff.
Not a huge fan of Slark versus Tiny, but Slark's going to have a really, really easy time just stomping on Io and Witch Doctor. Those are the heroes that Slark's going to have a nice time with. And even Pudge is, Pudge is okay against Slark, I guess. But Slark also is very good against them in return. So if Slark can get a fast Shadow Blade and he can go around killing Witch Doctor and Io, he's going to have a really nice game. If his farm goes just okay, then he's going to have to deal with a Tiny later who's going to have Craggy Exterior, which will be a little tough. But he can very easily go Silver Edge, so it's an okay Slark game.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's just that I haven't seen the hero in forever. I mean, we'll see how it goes. There's definitely a chance he can run away with this game with the help of maybe the Lone Druid and the Kunkka. The Kunkka obviously being a support pick for MSS, but he could still get a couple of good X marks and Torrents coming out. I do favor Leviathan's draft a little bit. I don't know if they have the best late game. Obviously, a Tiny is very strong in that situation. You do have the amplified damage coming out with the armor reduction coming through as well. But I would prefer probably a Slark Lone Druid as well as a Puck over Leviathan scores later on down the road. But we're not there yet, obviously. It is even before the game has started. No bell has been rung. No horn has been sounded. And we'll have to see how this turns out. Already an early ward placed up on the high ground here, as you can see. Great ward spot, and it looks like maybe Eagle will be scout out, but MSS actually doesn't see him, and the big bad bird will be able to walk away.
Yeah, he TP'd the mid lane right away, and you went to block the large camp at the Radiant Ancients, or by there. But that's very important because Lone Druid can easily get a level 2 or maybe work towards a level 3 or 4 if you don't block that camp. So it's really important against nasty offlaners like Enchantress or Lone Druid or something like that, that you do block that camp because it gives them so much advantage. So, and with another Observer Ward on the high ground, they can figure out whether or not somebody's going to be there. They can figure out whether or not they want to rotate behind and gank as well.
That's a good point. That ganking spot, that rotation, we've seen that a couple of times work out for a couple of teams. The Division, it's going to make it even easier. for Leviathan, and I imagine they're going to look for some kills early on down the road, and we'll have to see if that's going to be the case. They don't have a great roamer in Newsham, but he will, of course, be able to relocate later on. He will get the bottle ferried out to him, the 660, the gold cost, obviously, a little bit less than it used to be. Plus, he got the early bounty rune as well, and so it's going to be Newsham and Chibi in this mid lane. It'll be up against best mid NA or the Puck. Very elusive. This Puck is a very elusive hero, and we'll see how it turns out for him.
Yeah, the nice thing about this is that if he gets tossed back, that he can orb back to safety, basically. So that's something he can deal with.
It's the
a little bit of avalanche
There's
harass.
going to be the slow as well. He doesn't have the illusory orb. He's got phase shift if he needs it. He'll phase shift one attack, making sure he gets the most out of the current HP pool that he has, and so that's going to be happening consistently. That's that's the best. Like, if you have a good tiny IO duel lane and good players playing it, you'll see that a lot. You'll see perfect harass. You'll see stacks up in the jungle, obviously, which you can see Newsham's already doing. And he might even get the double stack off, and it looks like he will.
Yeah, it's
Beautiful
pretty
stuff.
easy to do if you break the trees.
Right.
Then you can stack down. So really efficient play coming from the IO here to do this, and that'll transition nicely. Yeah, like you said, to get more experience for them.
Yep.
Looks pretty good for them so far.
Not the most
In the offlane, however, Jenkins has nothing, and it looks like the Slark is doing a good job keeping lane control here. That means that the Pudge will continue to get nothing. He also can't really kill the large camp very easily since he doesn't have anything like an Iron Talon, but he can do a side pull here. If he cuts the tree down and then hooks the creep to the right, then I think he can pull a creep camp to the right, and that may be what his aim is.
I want to see if he does this. He's going to go for the pull. The creep wave is on its way. Can he get the hook off is the question. He skills it up. Hooks the creep. Beautifully done. Nice play. And it does take it up a couple of tower hits. This might not kill the creep wave. I think it could. It should, I think, but
probably not. If it's blocked like this, it won't. And even a centaur camp in most cases won't be able to do that. So.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. Jenkins will at least get, 2 last hits here. Centaur Conqueror will go ahead and stomp, and that's pretty nifty. Jenkins will find a little bit of experience for himself, but he needs another camp to get to that level 2.
Well, the more important thing is that he actually pulled the creep wave back. So now he can run to his wave where Slark's obviously not able to just deny his own creep. So, boom, level 2. It's not just about getting the centaur camp, it's also about giving him the advantage from the creep wave equilibrium.
He will not be able to do this again, as there is a sentry ward placed down, at least not for a period of time. So that's a bit unfortunate. And this wave will push out, as you can clearly see. I mean, there's 2 creep waves there. It's kind of dwindled down to 1.5 or something along those lines, but that's a pretty cool play coming up from Jenkins. Does get him level 2, but you look at the offlane here for the Lone Druid. Level 3, Boots of Speed picked up. He's got the Stout Shield on the bear, which he bought earlier. Ziz getting okay last hits with 12, but he needs to be careful. If this bear gets Entangling Claws, he's a dead Zizzy if he's not careful.
Yeah, this is kind of scary. Like, Jenkins is being a little shut down, but Brax is getting a lot of advantage, so he just can't be zoned very well. That's the nicest thing about Lone Druid, is that he's got 2 right clicks, and while the bear isn't as strong in the early game, he's got 1400 HP at level 1. Like, how do you zone that?
Yeah, you don't. He's 1800 HP now. This Witch Doctor's like, I'm going to die. I can't do this on my own. And this is the problem with running the tiny IO. Sure, you're getting plenty of farm mid lane. You can maybe even get a kill or 2 and get good experience with, of course, the stacks. But that's the problem, I think, with the Lone Druid, especially in the offlane. Like, this bear can't die at level 4. Like, that's level 2 bear. Should not have that much HP, I feel like. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's a very valid point, but you can generally kill the hero if you can just dive at him. Witch Doctor's just not the best at that in the laning stage, though. He doesn't have a really high damage single target ability. It's more of like an AoE ability. So if you get something like Venge with a Slardar, maybe things are more possible. But with Witch Doctor, yeah, it'll provide better team fight later on, but at least in the early laning stage, it's not a good situation to be in for Witch Doctor.
Rabid was going to be used there. The attack speed, movement speed coming out for the bear itself. He's got to try to pull the creep wave now. It looks like maybe not the creep wave's not coming out. I'll just recall it back. And that's fine. So, there's the root, but Southern Crush will go. Look how much damage you took from a root and a couple of right clicks coming through. It's so frightening. You get rooted and you're low, you're going to die. And so Ziz has to be careful around the Lone Druid bear. And that's just like, an offlane with killing potential like that is a bit scary. Obviously, it's a dual lane. It's not a tri-lane, so, obviously it's pretty good. Toss is going to be going the Avalanche combo as well, but it's not nearly enough damage. He's going to go ahead and get Nightmared up. The Illusion Orb will fly, and Mason will back up and just bottle up as well.
No big surprise there. They definitely do need to pressure well on the mid lane, though, because they're very clearly losing the off lane in terms of Lone Druid. I think Brax has historically been a very good Lone Druid player, so it's not like he's just learning this hero for the first time. But they've got to shut him down. Like, he's going to hit 6 soon, then he's going to be virtually unkillable for the early game.
He's almost 3 levels up on Jenkins, who's now just resorted to jungle. He's getting these pulls off mid, though. And we've seen a couple of these cheeky mid pulls coming through. We used to saw the Tusk one mid. Obviously, there's a tiny pull. I think Abel you could do from mid. I'm not 100% sure about that. I can't really remember. But obviously, this pull coming in from Jenkins has been pretty impressive. It clears up the entire creep wave. And so, you look at Mason, he's resorted to stacking up his jungle and using the Illusory Orb to farm it down. Maybe just some right clicks, too.
It's actually pretty good for Jenkins here that this creep wave was stacked, because it does deny a full creep wave. But I almost feel like he should have done this earlier, to be honest, rather than doing it here while he did. Because he could have shifted over here and he could have denied experience in the mid lane and given Puck more hurt. I mean, he did also mess up the creep equilibrium in his off lane, but if he does it in the mid, it's more valuable in my opinion.
Yes.
Because again, the Radiant triple heroes here, they're still getting experience in the safe lane, and they're still getting free farm on the Slark. So I don't know. I think he could have pressured a bit more there. Maybe it might have given more relief to the mid lane, and then he could have translated that into ganking.
Yeah, Ritsu with 36 last hits now. Looks like he's picking up potentially a Midas here. So this Trez, he actually has the money for it if he wanted to. Smoke of Deceit gang top lane. Jenkins maybe looking for a hook. He's going to sit way in the tree line. Ziz is going to get zoned out pretty heavily. Now the sprint forward. Slithering Crush misses. They can still find this kill, however. There's the hook in as well. Great Savage Roar. Do they have the damage? He doesn't have his level 6 yet. He actually doesn't have True Form. He actually did, but he didn't skill it, or he didn't use it up. But Ziz is going to get first blood even after missing the Slithering Crush. Big kill going the way of Leviathan.
Yeah, that was absolutely crucial. If Brax gets a kill out of that, or gets advantage out of that, then they would be so far behind in their early rotations. But Pudge is pretty good against Lone Druid. A lot of pure damage there, and a lot of slow that's going to make it harder for him to escape there. He didn't have his ultimate up, and maybe he should have, but I don't think it was a terrible idea for him not to, because you do lose some lane control if you go into the bear mode. Right. So he just wasn't anticipating a gank there, and Leviathan does get some advantage. But even with that, he's still far ahead of Jenkins. Jenkins still only level 4 here on Pudge.
Yeah, Jenkins could use a couple of fights down. The Nightmare Torrent coming out. Shibby in trouble. Tether's going to come through. They have the overcharge, and actually they're just in trouble here as everyone's rotating in. SVG, Avalanche will go. Toss comes out as well. MSS, can they bring him down? Great Dream Coil. Torn onto 2. Can they turn this? They're going to go ahead and jaunt away, but Dizzy in the waiting arms of MSS. He'll drop the Slithering Crush. Beautifully done from Leviathan, getting 2 more kills, and a bit of an aggressive play that does not work out for Shazam. Very aggressive.
I think they just got a little lucky that they all happened to be there, because they didn't see Shazam shifting up there, I don't think. And if they did, then obviously Shazam shouldn't have gone for it. And even then, when they found Tiny, they weren't going to kill him. Like, they saw that I was there originally. All they have is what, a level 4 Bane and a level 3 Kunkka. That's not enough damage. They should have been focused on killing the Wisp if they're going to, rather than the Tiny. Once they went on the Tiny over the Wisp, there's no way that was working.
You could argue space created for Shazam's Brax as well as Ritsu down in that bottom lane, but he's already had all the space in the world. It's not like he needs any more to be created, so he gets a Midas up. He's got his Boots of Speed, a Ring of Precise, which will almost certainly turn into an Aquila at some point. And now top's getting pushed in. It looks like MSS is going to sit behind Brax and help any sort of gank that does come through into his top lane, which there's a good chance that happens pretty soon. Ziz very close to his Blink Dagger. Same could be said for the Tiny. He's up to 1,500 gold if he wants that item, and I would imagine he does. That's a lot of ganking potential. Even get the first level of Grow. Now the Avalanche coming through. Toss, not there. No toss back, rather. I'll right-click him down. The Illusory Orb will go ahead and jaunt away after the phase shift. The Spirits, though! God, Noosham! Holy crap! Look at that damage, man.
Yeah, they're playing their dual lane mid much better than I thought that they did at the regional qualifier. They've clearly been practicing the hell out of this, and it's working out nicely. Puck is a good solution to not dying there, but it's just not quite enough. They chase him down and they get the kill.
Yep. Great stuff. Ziz top lane. It looks like he's going to get ganked, but meanwhile, bottom lane relocated in SVG. We will see you later. Avalanche toss. And Jenkins with the rot. Now top lane, Ziz in trouble. It doesn't want to lose his Blink Dagger. He's got the crush. He'll use it. Can he get out in time? Look at MSS. Amp damage taken. The right click. Great Savage Roar. They have no other Savage Roar available. 25 seconds. Torrent will go. And they'll get at least Jenkins. Brax is going to walk in. Great cast coming through. The rock coming out. That damage is there. Misses the hook, though. And now there's going to be the usage of the Dream Coil. Avalanche toss coming in as well. Brax will fall. The Spirits coming through. Silence comes out. Eagle in trouble. He does go down to the right click. And he Illusory Orb jaunts away. Best mid at A. Mason trying to make it out. Getting away with Larceny, but there's a toss back available. He'll get it up. Avalanche not coming in just yet. Can they get this kill? X-Marks comes through so they can't chase any further. Jenkins will get torrented. Brain Sap will fly, but he's so damn tanky. They overcharge him as well, and they will keep Mason alive. But another amazing fight for Leviathan, but here comes the Slark. He's got his ultimate. Dismember will fly. The Dark Pack goes to the hook. He gets the kill with the rot. What a play from Jenkins going down right after he doesn't deny himself. He'll die to the Kunkka. SVG getting jumped on. Jimmy's back in, baby, and he wants more. 92. Leviathan, they want to force us to a game 3, and right now, they're doing all the things necessary, Purge.
You just can't make those goes on Pudge in the early game. It's so dangerous. It does pure damage, it hits him through his ultimate, and the Rot's obviously going to do the damage as well. And he's got a cloak picked up on Pudge, and all of Slark's damage in the early game is basically magical. So if Slark actually had Treads there instead of a Midas, instead of a Midas, he would have lived there, and he would have killed the Pudge. But the fact that this turned around really makes that Midas a dangerous proposition. It completely turns the early fight around, and now Leviathan has a huge advantage.
Yep. Speaking of Midas, this is going to go for one himself. I thought for sure it was going to be an early blink. Maybe with that death he decided otherwise. Eagle's going to try to TP away, but I don't think he makes it out. It was close. He's just not tanky enough, and so he'll go down. That is a kill that I think Slark didn't desperately need, but it's going to help him regardless, and we'll see how things progress here on out. Shibby has his Blink Dagger, as you saw in that last fight. He's now taking even more stacks. And Jenkins is level 7 now, so that early disadvantage is now turned into only a 1-level disadvantage against Brax, and Brax continues to actually struggle now in terms of his net worth. It's up to 1,400. He's got Boots of Speed, no Iron Talon to help, though, on that bear. Will he head towards the Midas? Will he head towards the Radiance? What item do you think is going to be for offlane Brax here?
Radiance is probably the go, especially against Blink Dagger heroes like Slardar and Tiny. I think it's pretty clearly going to be that item. If they get on top of him, he's in a lot of trouble, and Radiance is going to help. Also, those two heroes right-click a lot, so giving some evasion there is going to be really useful. But now the game gets scary. With the Midas on Slardar, yeah, it's going to delay his Blink Dagger. But this means that he's pretty much consistently going to have a lot of farm, and he's going to have a ton of attack speed. And bashes are one of the best solutions against Lone Druid Bear. If you just amp damage him, and you right-click him and perma-bash him, or get a lot of bashes on him in addition to what everyone else is doing, you kill that bear, and you really limit what Lone Druid can do. And then you just have to deal with the Slark, and Slark can be dealt with the heroes Leviathan has. They've got burst damage, and they've got pretty good team fight.
They have good lockdown. They need that Dismember. Obviously, a Dark Pact will nullify some of that, but it's only if he knows it's coming. Get that Q button off. He's got some good Radiant Vision here, so he'll know that the Dower team is snooping around his jungle. They'll go ahead and smoke under the ward. And they're going to head mid. It hasn't been pinged out yet. They should know that this is coming. It looks like they will back away together. Mason as well as the Lone Druid Brax are going to head towards their tier 1 tower in that bottom lane. How far will Leviathan go to find this kill is the question. Not very far.
Yeah, they don't have very many wards around the other parts of the map except for mid, so... Their wards are pretty good, though, for checking aggression of Shazam, and they thought that there would be a lot of aggression considering the heroes they have. He still has the Arcane Rune here. Could he get a really cheap cast?
Relocate coming out. Cast is going to fly through. MSS in trouble. Out the cast. There's going to be the Avalanche Toss combo. Nushim in trouble as well. Loose Europe, the right click. They'll go ahead and jaunt away. There's going to be the Toss coming out. There's the Dream Coil coming through as well. Another phase shift, but now they will lose Mason. That freaking puck gets destroyed, and that is a great relocate gank. That global pressure coming from all points of the map for Leviathan, and they get yet another kill up in that top lane. They'll TP down bottom. They'll try to deny this. Ooh, that hook almost hitting for Jenkins. But instead, this will be a denied tier 1 tower. Maybe SVG looking for a sleep instead. He's going to try to take this tower and deny it, or rather get the last hit. And they will, but they can't find anything further.
Yeah, he couldn't attempt a hook there. If it was, if he grabs Bane, then Slark jumps on him, things get really scary. So maybe they get the tower in the top lane. Fight was overall very good for Leviathan, initiating and killing the Kunkka right at the start of it. And Shazam's definitely on the back foot. I feel like Kunkka hasn't really provided very much to them due to it being a dual lane mid and Puck losing the matchup. It was just hard for them to get kills there. So Kunkka hasn't been able to accelerate like we saw DC do sometimes in the qualifiers by getting kills.
Yeah.
So now Kunkka's behind. He's not going to be able to passively farm. He's not going to have a mech contribution. He's just a walking torrent right now. And X is obviously very useful, but if Leviathan just runs down Shazam, you don't have time to do an X marks the spot setup. You're just going to get jumped on and you're going to get killed.
His level 6 is super critical, not only in this game, but in any game you'll see support, or even core Kunkka. The RUM obviously is a big factor, not to mention the amount of damage, which we talked about a bit earlier in the draft. That level 6 on Kunkka is exactly what you need, and he's close. This wave top lane, if he walks forward, will be able to get him that experience that he is looking for, assuming he doesn't get jumped on. Relocates back up, so he's a bit afraid, and I completely see why. He's so close. Just get that creep. Is he in range? He is. He now has his Ghost Shift, and that might be what turns the tides. No pun intended for Shazam. Relocate comes through, and it is top lane. There, Ghost Shift goes out. He's got the ROM, and they weren't there in time, and now Nushim in trouble. Pounce will hit as well.
Avalanche.
Now there's going to be the Southern Crush, the Avalanche coming out. The bash comes through. Beautifully done again. The RNG is with Leviathan, and again, Ritsu cannot find the right fight, and he'll go down.
And it's not just the bash, it's the fact that he had attack speed from having Midas.
Dismember comes out, they're going to find the bear. Savage Roar, Cask will come and keep him in place. They have to toss Avalanche, they're going to get it onto this bear, and that's going to be an extra bit of gold going Leviathan's way.
Dire's middle
Man,
tower is
Leviathan
under
is just running over Shazam now. Just getting every advantage possible. Their wards are shifting to be more aggressive due to their advantage in the game. And now they're going to try to take some towers.
Would you believe me if I told you that this 3-12 advantage is only a 2,000 net worth lead for them? Seems...
I sort of believe it because Shazam has been
Radiant's
farming
middle
more.
tower
Yes.
is under
And they
attack.
still had a pretty good early laning stage advantage.
Sprints up, they're looking for a crush. They're going to find the bear, they're amped damage again. And that's really what you talked about, the frightening potential of the Slaughter in this matchup. He hits his blink too.
The bear's going to be a lot less
Radiant's middle
survivable
tower
when he's
is
amp
under
damaged.
attack.
This 2700 HP is still a lot, but it'll do far less.
And he can't really, I mean, maybe he can afford to lose it again. It's only 70 seconds of cooldown and he can just farm without it, but still, losing a bear now and allows Leviathan to push in and to be a bit more heavy-handed with their pressure.
Radiant structures are fortified.
They also have to really worry because Puck doesn't have his blink dagger yet.
Yeah,
That hero's really far behind.
He's been very far
They're going on the
behind.
bear.
There's going to be amp damage. The bash comes out. They're going to get off that beautiful dismember. Here comes the ghost ship. Zizzy might be in trouble. Can they get the entangle proc? The Fiend Script, they'll hook him back. He's still in trouble, though. No overcharge coming through, and Zizzy will fall. Good turn. Can they get the tower? Avalanche will cover the retreat. It will get denied, however. Now the X marks Nushin will try to tether away. He's in trouble, though. They're going to come through with the bear. Cask will fly. Death Ward. They're going to find SVG, but no! Savage Roar is in range. Toss up. Almost getting the kill onto the best, but that is Mason. Now there's going to be the Slark jumping in. He gets the Dark Pact to pounce off. They're going to find Eagle. Double kill for him. 3 dead on the Dire. 2 on the Radiant. They're going to get the Dismember. Jenkins gets it done. It's now a 3 for 3, but Jimmy will inevitably fall here to the tower hit. And to 3 for 4, maybe 3 for 5. Jenkins is going to get X-Mark torrented. He is still very, very tanky, especially with Fleshy. And he'll go ahead and just back up now. Great fight coming up from Shazam. It almost turned bad, but they do at least get a couple of kills. Obviously, they lose a lot too, but look at the gold exchange in that fight recap. 1,600 to the 200 of Leviathan.
Yeah, they did get advantage there. We'll see if Jenkins can land this hook.
Oh,
It's almost impossible
This
to
is
land.
very difficult. I think it was... Oh, relocate bottom. They're going to find Brack. Savage Roar. Not in time. Cask will fly through. Can they get this kill? They want the bear first, but inevitably they will go for the Lone Druid. And they will find a kill, a much needed one, onto the Lone Druid. And that, I think he already had his Relic on his bear too, so he doesn't lose much there, but a kill's a kill.
Yeah, he's still being pressured like crazy. Almost every time they resummons his bear, he gets it into action and has to worry about dying. And that's one of the really big things that Lone Druid has an advantage. So you don't worry about the bear most of the time, but when they have the counters for the bear, that's when things get hard. SVG in trouble.
Yeah, he's going to go down. They actually have the spirits. They have the vision coming in. They'll get the combo just barely off. Nushin now is going to take a ghost shift, and that should provide them the kill. So they'll lose the support for support. But the one that got the kill was the time.
Oh, he got Puck.
Uh-oh. What? Dreamcoil comes out. The hook came through. The Dismember was not there. Would have gotten the kill, as I say 0 in chat. And look, Jenkins is looking for maybe another hook. He does have the Aether Lens. And God, that's so close with the Aether Lens. Jeez.
Man, he could have killed Puck there if he got his Dismember off. It's very difficult against Puck, but if you can get the cast off, then Puck is just absolutely screwed. Jenkins is doing a great job by playing offlane Pudge. They do still have to worry about Radiance and stuff like that, but the pressure's on from Leviathan. Shazam's on the defense, and their heroes aren't that great at it.
They are getting their items up, though. The Blink Dagger is now done for the Puck. The Lone Druid is getting there, as you can see. He's got his Boots of Speed, but the Radiance has just been picked up as well, I believe, on the Buried. The Relic. No Radiance yet, but it's close. It's close. They'll pick up the Blast for Nushin, though, so it'll give him some extra survivability and some usefulness, some helpfulness with Shibby, and he'll pick up his Aghanim Scepter. No treads yet, though. He should get those pretty soon.
The 5 armor is going to do a lot, basically. Against the Lone Druid, it'll work very well against Slark as well. Armor will definitely help. All the heroes are going to be right-clicking the bear. It's going to amp all of their damages. The Vlad's gives the Tiny about 30 damage right now alone. That is already a great reason to pick up the item.
Yeah, that's huge. And they'll get an Aegis off the back end of having a Vlad's and some really good amp damage and right-click coming out from Leviathan. So the Aegis will go to them. Shibby should be the one to grab it. He will. Jenkins maybe looking for an Aghanim Scepter now after having that Aether Lens. His hook count has been absolutely amazing. Aether Lens Unpudged, purchased in 72% of pro matches. Win rate is 56%. Win rate without. It's pretty much what this is saying. If you don't have Aether Lens, it's probably because you're too far behind and you're already losing.
Yeah, most likely, or you just really shouldn't be picking Pudge in the first place.
Yeah.
It's very useful. The cast range alone, the amp damage, it gives you spell resistance. It's literally everything that Pudge needs. This is an item made for Pudge. And to be frank, a lot of heroes in the meta right now.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Aether Lens. When we first saw Glimmer Cape, I think a lot of people were like, this needs to be nerfed, this needs to be changed. Do you feel that way about Aether Lens? I'm pretty sure I do not, but what about you?
I mean, Aether Lens is good, but it doesn't feel abusive. Like, it's very good offensively, but it doesn't do that much defensively, you know?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I like how Eagle's pressuring the bear here, making him think they're the only one there. They were looking to see if there's a dive.
They have Savage Roar. They're going to try to juke and jab away from it. Meanwhile, the Bane's kind of baiting this. They have 3 heroes up in the top lane. They'll TP one of them out, so looks like the pressure is going to go away, and Brax will go ahead and TP himself away as well. Let's back down to that bottom lane so they can just find more room to farm. I like that, even though Shazam are kind of getting run at and they're losing a lot of gold and towers, they are finding places to farm. They're finding places to pressure, and they're really not that far behind. 3,000 net worth at 20 minutes is not that much for Shazam.
Yeah, it's not bad, and they will accelerate faster. They have better farming heroes. The only hero that really farms fast on Leviathan is going to be Tiny. Slar will be an honorable mention since he does have Midas Treads, though.
Here's the smoke, speaking of the slaughter, with Eagle behind him. The big bad bird and crew looking to find a kill, and they might just find Brax. Savage Roar out there. They missed the stun coming out. Slithering Crush will fall, but now they do have the relocate, and they missed the avalanche. They miss every stun on the face of the planet, but they still get the kill. So it's all good for Leviathan.
Yeah, that's the scary thing about ganking with smoke at nighttime. So when the smoke breaks, you don't actually know where the guy is most of the time. So, and when the Radiance sets in, that's when things get really scary. Slaughter did blink early, but a little off target. But that's that double gank that I was talking about. Slaughter plus Wishtalker can kill anybody. And then they said, okay, this isn't working, relocate in. Another kill on the Lone Druid. It's going to prevent his next items from coming out as fast.
Yep.
Radiance alone is scary, but it's not everything.
Right. This is, however, creating a little bit of space. Slithering Crush, that's going to be in the top lane. They find the Dismember coming out, and another kill. The Nightmare is not in time. Fiend's Grip, you need to leave, SVG. He knows this. Not much mana for Ziz. He's going to pop the Int but still nowhere near. They're going to get the Tether coming through, maybe looking for a bash. Slithering Crush, they just got the mana, but they missed the Crush again. But it's a bash, and Ziz picks up a double. And the one thing that is positive currently for Shazam is that Ritsu is getting room to farm. His BKB is done now. He'll buy it from the shop. And he already has a Shadow Blade, so he's got some items to work with. He's the highest net worth in game, but Leviathan are finding kills all over the map, Purge.
Yeah, that gank on Puck was so cool. They basically started the TP and then instantly blinked with Slardar, and then followed up the first stun with Dismember. It's the only way they make that work. If they have a blink on Pudge, all that gets a lot easier. But for now, when they don't have that item up yet, that gank is very hard to execute, and they pulled it off. So really nice gank there.
Yeah, good stuff, good stuff. Leviathan finding any little bit of advantage they can. They're up to now 1,500 on the IO. Currently, the Slaughter has 1,400, or actually maybe it was 2,000. He bought something. I think it's his full BKB, just about. He actually picks up the Mithril Hammer, so he's just the recipe away from that. The Tiny has Zags. Does he have Treads yet is the question. Absolutely. He's going to be going for the AC next as well. So the items are starting to come out for both teams, but more importantly, Shazam, or rather Leviathan, are getting to that next tier of items, whereas MSS still doesn't have his mech yet. He just can't farm that fast.
Yeah, Kunkka's ability to farm comes down to his Tidebringer, and if you go with the support build, you've only got his other skills.
Yep.
Fight will happen bottom, though.
And they're going to jump in. They're going to be the pounce on the Jenkins. He might be in trouble. They're going to use the ultimate as well. And he does have that BKB as well. So they're going to crush from Ziz to get out. He's in trouble. Meanwhile, Shibby finds a kill top lane. X-Marks will fly through. Torrent's going to go as well. The ghost ship. Ziz gets hooked away. Beautifully done. That was exactly what you were talking about. Relocating. They're looking for more. MSS might get caught here. Ghost ship runs still flying. Now Nushim about to fall. And Shibby, he's got that age. He's going to get entangled though. He's in trouble. Now the Avalanche the toss. They'll pick up one. Deathward flying through. The Aegis is gone now. Shadow Blade away. Jenkins in trouble. They actually have detection. So the Crush pops the BKB beautifully. Now can he get right click down? They're going to pick up one. They're going to go ahead and man fight here. And the turn. Shazam. They'll pick up a triple kill for Brax and a double kill for Ritsu. They'll pick up 5 and now they get the advantage. That's a huge fight going their way. So much gold. And that actually might be an even net worth graph. No. But still, it's a lot of gold up for Shazam now.
Yeah, the only reason that fight went bad is because the Avalanche on Tiny was off cooldown at the start of that fight. And it's something that's very hard to keep track of when you're playing Wisp. You're looking at the enemy team, you're checking to see if it's the right opportunity. You do the relocate, and the Avalanche just wasn't ready. And because of that, Tiny can't do a combo. all he can really do is run after somebody and start right-clicking slowly. But they overchased due to not having Avalanche. They got themselves out of position, and then Tiny, or the IO died, and that makes Tiny much, much weaker. So really good fight there for Shazam. They had all the important items they needed, namely that BKB on Slark that allowed them to do that.
That the showing of the BKB was crucial. He pops it at the beautiful time when he's man fighting against Tiny. If Tiny had his Avalanche toss combo, that's a dead Slark if the BKB is not there, and that just shows you, I mean, sure, you're losing heroes left and right for Shazam, but if you're not losing your safe lane farmer, in particular the Slark now in this game for Ratsu, he's going to be able to come back and have a good fight. And so Leviathan, they're going to get caught again. Big Bad Bird is going to get Dream Coiled up. The Silence came through with the Waning Rift, the Uso Orb, as well as Brain Sap will combo up to get the kill. They're looking for more. Ziz is going to spread up. Slithering Crush will fly. They're going to find it. Dismember is going to go through. Big bash coming out with the amp damage, and that's more than enough to get a support for a support trade. And Ziz very close to his own BKB, which he really, really needs after that last fight.
Yeah, and this is still very good for Slaughter, though he's very far ahead where he normally is. He's going to transition to a carry. Might see a gank top. Oh, they're worried about the Slug.
I think. Somehow should be new. He just went Avalanche randomly, which was pretty nifty. But
well, he's got a Ghost Scepter now, so with the Ghost Scepter ready, if the Slark does catch him, then at least he can defend himself. That's really what he has to worry about, just Slark continuing to snowball on him. But Nusham's KDA has been very good, 4-3 and 12 on a support Wisp, but with a scary Slark on the other team is pretty solid.
It's been a while since we've seen the Puck go for the good old treads, blink, and then into Midas afterwards. We saw this a couple of matches ago,
That's not
I think.
too surprising,
right?
Because they know this game is going to go a long time, and one of the problems with Puck is that he does slow down. He doesn't farm as rapidly as other heroes. He needs mana to farm fast. So if you grab the Midas, it'll allow him to guarantee those next big items that are really crucial, like maybe a Yule Scepter if things get really bad. Maybe he'll want a Hex or a Shiva's Guard, or maybe even a BKB of his own. All those things are going to help Puck be a lot more relevant, and just buying a Midas at this stage is not that big of a loss, in my opinion.
26 minutes in, and we do see Shazam now with the net worth advantage, and it's not that bad. 2,500 net worth lead going for them as Leviathan had that at one point up to 5,000, almost 7,500 for Leviathan. They lost that in that last team fight. When you lose all 5 heroes, including an Aegis as well, it's not the best thing, and so Leviathan will have to play maybe a little bit more cautious. They can't go for those kills like they did consistently, and they're going to have to deal with the Lone Druid Bear, who is inevitably going for not only the Vlads, which he has, but also an AC with his playmail picked up, which will counteract the AC that is yet to come out for the Tiny. Actually, he's very close to having it, but just not yet. They can get that AC, they can take Roche again maybe, and they can find a good fight going the way. They can somehow deal with that Slark, but until then, this might be a bit of a tough game for Leviathan here, Purge.
I think they're okay. They might, maybe not going to be able to grab the Puck there.
Not quite.
But the big armor buff on the Lone Druid Bear is very nice. It'll make it harder for the bear to kill, but the bear still hasn't increased his damage yet. And that's the important distinction. Leviathan's scaling up, and they're basically able to team fight better due to having BKBs. But if they really get upset enough, they could just kill the bear during the fight in a very limited amount of time, especially once the Slaughter gets his next item or two. Because the bear doesn't continue to stack armor items. He usually grabs something like the AC and the Vlads, and then he stops. Doesn't get any more. That's peaking off at about 20 armor, whereas as the Slaughter hits 16 and has an AC, he's hitting for like minus 25 armor. That counteracts it entirely and is going to allow him to kill the bear pretty easy. So it's still going to be a hard Lone Druid game no matter what as the game continues. It just comes down to team fights and whether or not they can protect the bear.
Well, they're looking for a team fight right now. Shazam, after another set of items, came through the Aether Lens on MSS's Kunkka and the Scotty on Ritsu's Slark. They're looking for a brawl here, and they are going to find it. Eagle's going to be caught in the tree line. He's going to get destroyed immediately. The Voodoo Restoration will keep him up for maybe half second more. The bear actually gets the kill with a Radiant Spurn. It's a dominating spree, and for everyone else, they're going to go ahead and TP away, getting everybody out of dodge for Leviathan.
Not a terrible trade, considering that was a smoke. He was positioned very well, great Observer Ward up for it as well. He just wanted to make sure that they didn't catch him. But losing one support for that's not terrible. He's going to be alive as this push happens. They will go for the split in the meantime, though. Not a lot of towers for them to take. This is what you do whenever you know that you're not ready to fight. If one of your heroes dies and they're pushing, you go somewhere else. Try to take a tower.
And the Puck is already back in the base. He's TP'd in. He's looking for an Lucio Orb, maybe clear out the creep wave as well, as the tier 3 is starting to get a little bit of damage coming in. Ziz, he's in a very interesting spot. He can't blink at the Radiant Spare. Obviously, doing a good job of that. They'll deny the tower, so not too much lost for them, obviously, but still. This is where the game gets very tense. Leviathan have to find a good fight, maybe a smoke of deceit, and Shazam we're looking for the same. But until we see Roche, until we see a couple more items, especially out of Leviathan, we're probably going to be maybe finding a smoke or two at a time. And with that, a kill or two at a time.
I forgot that Tiny was making AC and he's got to finish now, so Slardar won't grab that. Which makes me think he's going to go Moonshard. So if he initiates, he's just going to shred somebody. It's going to be really scary. He'll have to be slightly worried about his low physical survivability, because AC is such a great Slardar item.
Right.
But Moonshard is just so fantastic on the hero because of the amount of damage that Bash does. It does 120 physical whenever he hits, so it's basically like doing a 2x crit whenever he does Bash. And so if he just maxes out his attack speed right now, he's going to be stunning them and critting.
Yeah, that Sun Tzu is a big part of who he is on that hero. I would argue maybe he goes for another tanky item later on down the road after the Moonshard, maybe something like a Heart of Trask. What do you think?
Heart's pretty good. It does give him damage and overall HP increase. I don't think it's terrible, but I feel like he might need a different solution against Slark, because HP alone just means Slark will steal more damage.
Scotty, God, I don't know, dude. I don't know what you go on this hero after you.
Scotty's not terrible. I don't know if it's the right solution, but it's not a bad item.
Satanic with attack speed could be good. There's a lot of items that you can go for with Sizz, obviously, and I don't know. Well, either way, they're going to head to Roche. Vamp damage. They can take it pretty quickly, but can they take it fast enough? As Shazam's walking in, Slark very speedy. Roche, pretty low, but not dead yet. There's going to be the Torrent Jenkins will get spotted out first, and Eagle will be next as well. There's going to be the Ghost Ship. Good hook coming in. No Dismember coming through. They're going to try to find the bear. BKB pop. They've already lost the one. And it looks like Jenkins and crew are on retreat. They'll lose Jenkins with a double kill now going away from Ritsu. The gem just go down. They'll get the Aegis and they'll get the rest of their cores out, but still not a great fight for Leviathan in the end.
Wow, their sentry actually didn't spot. Oh, sorry, this is a new observer ward. I like that they placed a ward during the fight, but the sentry didn't spot the ward on the other side of the cliff, so. And with him being in that position, it just wasn't a good spot. I think they should have stood to the south right.
This tier 3 tower is in trouble. They've got demolished of the bear. They have a couple of illusions, and Nushim's going to get torrented. They'll dive this. They'll pop the Ghost Scepter. The Pounce will hit up. They get the silence as well. The damage is there. Ern will.
There's no one to tether to.
He's probably dead to
the
torrent
right
now. He's close. The Ern will bring him down. They're going to get Rax, though. They're getting Rax mid. That's the biggest thing. Now, Nushim's dead for 57 seconds. They're trying to push bottom lane. They're doing some small amount of damage to the third tier 3 down bottom, but Shazam have now brought this back in their favor in a big way. They're looking for Shibby. There's no Basher, and he will be able to TP away. Bane almost got there in time to get off that Nightmare, but they're also losing this tier 2 tower top lane as the bear will Radiant Spurn and pushing the creep wave. Hook comes through, just misses from Jenkins. He needed to go a little bit more north, but he couldn't quite find it. He does get the Dismember off, the longest range Dismember I've ever seen because of the Aether Lens, but they will not be able to find the bear. Wow.
Well, that was all due to losing like 2 heroes by Roche, and they had the Aegis as well, so Shazam taking a really big advantage. I feel like they're punishing mistakes a little bit better than the Leviathan is. At least late game mistakes, they definitely are.
Yeah, this is... God, this is such a rough position to be in. The AC is now done for the Lone Druid Bear. I mean, sure you have Aegis, but you're missing a set of racks now. Like, that's just 2 kills, and all of a sudden, you know, you push in, and they now have a 10,000 net worth advantage. Leviathan, they were in such a good spot, but Shazam were able to farm better, keep the game even. It's a Maelstrom, by the way, so they get the attack speed. They also get a bit of extra damage coming in with the lightning, but he might get ganked. There's going to be Yules up. He's got the BKB as well as the Aegis. He's going to get hooked away from Jenkins as the Torrent was coming through. Just a nice play again from Leviathan to keep that safe. The Maelstrom, like we talked about, is picked up, though.
Okay. I like the item picked up for Kunko here. He grabbed an Aether Lens, something I haven't seen before, but the X marks the spot range has increased. That's the really big catch. He could obviously buy Blink Dagger instead of the Aether Lens, but gives him magic resistance, gives him regen, gives him a bigger mana pool. It's a cool pickup.
Yep.
Dude, Slark is so farmed. He like just finished his Scotty, now he's got another item. That's incredible.
What does he have?
He's so hard to deal with.
He is... I don't want to say pretty... he's not unkillable, but he's pretty close to that at this point because of how farmed he is.
Well, Slardar went the right item. He's going MKB. It's an item that does give you attack speed, so it's not terrible to have. And it also does mini bash, so he's got 2 different ways to mini stun, which can mess up some animations and allow you to force mistakes out of your opponents.
He might die. He's going to lose his Aegis maybe. The hook comes through. That'll be onto the Slark. They can't get the Dismember off, though, as the ultimate comes through. The TP away from Jake as the X marks. This is the Aegis gone. Ghost Ship will not hit onto the Slark. He might be able to blink after he gets alive. The Dark Pact might go. Yeah, and they get a perfectly timed torrent. Ziz will pop the BKB, but die right afterwards. He's dead for 66, and they're going to lose more. There's going to be the Avalanche coming in, but Chibi gets destroyed with that Fiend's Grip, and look at it. Ritsu just goes to work, and Nushin will fall next. A double kill coming out for the Puck. They have to back away. They bought back on one. They're going to have to buy back with the other two, and this just might be game purge.
Man, that torrent was so perfectly timed.
Yeah.
He had no chance to blink there, no chance to BKB. He was probably opting for the blink over the BKB there, but I dare say he just should have been spamming the BKB. At least give him a chance to walk away rather than just getting stunned instantly. Oh, they get a good hook. This
SVG going to get caught. Great silence. The death ward going through. It's not enough. Not yet anyway. SVG slows. He's going to get the Nightmare off, and now the Toss Avalanche will have to bring him down. The gems in the deck. Zizi in trouble going toe-to-toe with the bear, but the Ghost Ship comes in. The bear will fall. They have the resummon. They'll pop it right up, and here comes Ritsu. He's on a warpath. Nushin pops the Ghost Scepter. Great illusory orb, and look at that damage. They'll get two. SVG is the only one dead on the Radiant side. Tether away from Nushin. There's going to be the X-Marks coming out as well. Avalanche will go, but it's not there in time as Ritsu is going to go further for Nushin on the other side. Jenkins going to get caught there diving the base now. And it's going to be GG. 4 dead. They're going to lose a 5th as this game ends. And Leviathan looking so good here in game number 2. But instead, they will go down 2-0. And they will go down to the lower bracket purge.
Man, Shazam's ability to just profit from advantages is amazing there. They even lost the Aegis, and the Roche, but they had ward vision, they pounced on a couple of heroes, and they immediately turned it into a push. It didn't even matter that Leviathan had advantage. Leviathan tried to go for the split. Maybe that was a mistake as well. Maybe they should have focused more heroes on trying to defend, but it's so hard against Kunkka. If you just get X'd, the fight is already really tough to defend. Somebody's going to get caught, and Kunkka does force that. So while the hero looked really worthless in the early laning stage due to them being behind, it absolutely allowed them to score tons and tons of picks in the mid game. So hats off to Shazam there. They took a game where they were really behind, but they kept their farm up, and they still took the win.
Yep. And we'll talk a little bit more about the game. We do still have the Dota 2 Canada Cup post-game report coming up, and that will be the last thing we do this evening. And then, of course, we'll be off until tomorrow, where we have Elite Wolves playing up against Infamous, the 2 Proving squads going toe-to-toe, and that is on the 18th at 7, or actually 8:30 Eastern. And that is a winner bracket round. That is, of course, the semifinals of the winner bracket, which is definitely super exciting. We'll talk more about that as we get into the post-game report. If you guys enjoyed the cast, make sure you follow us at moonducktv for myself, at Purge Gamers for Purge, at LurkerDerp for our stats lady. We'll see you guys in just a second. Stick around.
You've seen your last sunrise. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into the Dota 2 Canada Cup post-game report. We are done with this evening series, which of course Shazam versus Leviathan. Shazam will take the 2-0 victory, and helping me to break the series down, we have LurkerDerp on stats as well as Purge joining us as well. Lurka, we're going to start with you. How did you feel about that series as a whole? Did you think Leviathan was going to take it in that second game, or did you have faith in Shazam?
I was really hoping for Leviathan to pull through, especially in a game that we get a chance to see. Jenkins Pug is always going to be a fun one. Love when they can win it out with that. Wasn't to be today, but they still put out a really great early phase. They just couldn't capitalize. They couldn't shut down that Slark, and they couldn't bring it to the finish.
Yep. And that brings me to another point, Purge. How do you think Shazam was able to stay so even. We talked about the net worth advantage coming out for Leviathan for the entire early game. 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It's still 2,000 net worth advantage, but when Shazam gets ahead, they get ahead far. How do you think Shazam keeps it so even in that early stage, Purge?
I think it just comes down to like farm distribution and feeling comfortable farming and knowing where your opponents are. It seemed like the first game where Leviathan got really far behind, they were sitting around S5 a lot. And Shazam would still pressure with 1 hero occasionally, but still be farming with 4.
Right.
So it's kind of the same thing. If they know where their opponents are and they're not taking towers, then they still have the safety to farm in a lot of cases. And a lot of that can come down to things like efficient ganking. If you spend too much time getting ready to smoke or deciding how you're going to gank, then that means that there's more time for your opponents to farm in the downtime or prepare for those kind of things. So it's kind of hard to see just from watching the game live. Might have to watch the replay, but they've just clearly been more efficient despite they still got good farm in their lanes. They did have good laning advantage. They got a lot of farm in their first 10 minutes or so. They got a lot of levels. It really wasn't until the fighting started that the advantage went to Leviathan. So it was like one of 2 things that you need to get advantage: kills and winning your lanes.
Yeah.
And I think Shazam a little bit won their lanes, and then it just came down to a lot of Leviathan kills. So they had some good solutions there, but Shazam stayed ahead, and then again they profited better in the late game.
And they certainly did. They had a 10,000 to 15,000 net worth advantage when it was all said and done. It was really beautifully played from Shazam. Even from the get-go, after losing a couple of heroes, they didn't really seem to be too concerned. They weren't tilting. Ritsu was farming extraordinarily well, and I think the safe lane might be a better position for him, but we'll have to wait and see. I do want to ask you, Lurka, did you get the end stat line for Pudge's or Jenkins' Pudge to see how many hooks he got? I know you were throwing it out there all game.
Absolutely. The final hook count for Pudge was 17 out of 21, which puts him at an 81% accuracy rate.
God.
Pretty damn good.
That's impressive considering everything that was happening.
And even the ones he missed were so close.
Yeah.
Right, and that's including both ones he used offensively and defensively. As long as it hit what he intended to hit, it counts as accurate.
Yeah, that's... You put up that kind of performance on a Pudge, and you're like, all right, we have to win this game. I mean, I will say he didn't do the best early on. That's not necessarily his fault. That's a very tough lane to be in. The Slark was controlling the lane very well, as Purge mentioned. He even got a couple of really cheeky pulls off, and then he went to Roman gank, but Pudge still not able to provide the lockdown to take down that Slark. The Slark was so good that game, that pick that makes sure he gets off the Dark Pact or his Shadow Dance in order to be able to just get out and get away. And Ritsu was able to come up big for him. So let's look forward to the next games that we have coming in. Like I mentioned, tomorrow we have Elite Wolves going up against Infamous. That'll be at 8:30 Eastern. Let's talk about that one. Lurka, I want to ask you, do you have a favorite? Do you have anybody that you maybe like on Elite Wolves or Infamous? Do you have maybe a choice as to who you think want to go, who's going to go through between those two teams? What do you think?
It's really tough to say at this point. There's the whole Canada Cup has been full of some really awesome games, and there's been 1 or 2 that have been really one-sided, but for the most part, they've been real back-and-forth battles, which is the most fun to see, but the hardest to make predictions out of.
That's fair.
So I really can't make a call here, guys. I'm sorry.
In the regional qualifiers, at least Elite Wolves did beat Infamous in the finals to make it to their regional.
Yeah.
So and that was in the open qualifiers. So,
which was, if I didn't see the game that Infamous had played earlier this week, if I didn't see that best of 3 against Not Today they had, I would have said, okay, it's probably Elite Wolves. But Infamous decimated Not Today in their quarterfinal matchup, and of course this is a winner bracket semi. I'm gonna go ahead and I will give it to Infamous, even though Elite Wolves beat them in the open qualifiers, which you could argue is a way bigger deal. I think Infamous maybe have a little bit of an advantage here. It's gonna be pretty cool to watch. We'll see it pretty soon, but of course, that's not all. Later on down the road, I believe on the 20th is the big one, the big bad boy quarterfinal of them all. This obviously should be sometimes maybe even a grand final match between these two teams. It is Complexity versus Digital Chaos, 7:30 Eastern Time on January the 20th. That is just a couple days from now. That's an exciting one. Purge, who do you have between those two teams?
I'm sorry, which 2 teams was it?
Complexity and Digital Chaos.
That's really tough. I mean, during the qualifiers, we thought DC was going to be able to take that, but Complexity outplayed him. So,
yep.
I'm going to have to go with Complexity there, especially because I'm sure DC's morale is really low right now, and Complexity is probably high morale, working really hard. So, I think it's more likely Complexity takes that one.
Lurka, do you have... go ahead, sorry.
I'm going to throw my vote in the other direction. I'm going to say DC's probably going to be out for some vengeance. They feel like they got something to prove. I think since getting 1437 as their drafter and captain, they've had a bit more composure, and I think if they can keep that composure, they can capitalize on the early game progress they tend to have and bring it to the finish.
All right, we'll have to wait and see. That matchup coming up on the 20th. That's going to be an exciting one, and I definitely think that you guys should tell your friends and get everybody in here on the twitch.tv/moonducktv channel as well. And with that, I guess I'll make my prediction, and I'll say, oh, it's so close. I'll go with Digital Chaos, but the reason I'm doing so is because Complexity, I think, in a tweet or something, in some sort of fashion, they talked about their matchup against DC, and they thought, well, DC should make it through. They thought they were going to lose to DC, maybe. They thought that DC was going to beat Archon, so Complexity saying, yeah, this team's still pretty good. I'm going to give them the edge based off of that. So, anyways, that will be it here tonight, as we are done with the Canada Cup for this evening. Shazam. And they'll move on to the winner bracket semifinal. They will be playing up against the winner of Complexity and Digital Chaos, and we'll see how that does go. For everyone here at moonducktv, we want to give you a big shout out for joining us today. Make sure you guys check out twitch.tv/moonducktv. Give us a follow here. A sub if you're feeling generous. Check out our website at moonduck.tv as well, and twitter.com/moonducktv for more information on what we're doing. Obviously, Dota 2 Captain's Draft 3.0, presented by Dota Cinema, is coming up next, and that'll be on the 19th, I think, is when the qualifiers start. That one should be a lot of fun. Cannot wait to get back and casting those Tier 1 teams, especially in Europe, which I have not casted a lot of recently, and I'm very excited for that. And, of course, Purge, as well as myself, will be a part of that in some way, shape, or form as we go forward. So definitely check that out. Make sure you guys check out Dota2.ca for more information on the Canada Cup tournament, and, of course, the twitter.com/Dota2Canada Twitter site for more information as well. With that said, make sure you guys check out Vulcan.com for fantasy esports. Use the promo code Canada Cup to get gold and items for watching. And with that, we'll take it easy and have a good night, everybody. We'll see you all next time on the 18th tomorrow for Elite Wolves and Infamous.